Towards the end of Vivek Agnihotri's Holocaustic drama, I heard a woman sob in the pin-drop silence of the jam-packed auditorium. That's when I knew that Vivek Agnihotri had hit home. While it is astonishing to see his brutal survival drama grow into a major box office draw while the big glossy Radhe Shai released side-by-side syncs with every show, it is not really a stupefying mystery as to why Agnihotri's savage indictment of the whitewashing of the Hindu genocide in Kashmir in 1990 has struck such a deep chord among the audience. The Kashmir Files hits home it in an angry, indignant film, sometime skulking on its own bile while going that extra mile to target the while at other times failing to differentiate historical fact from the dramatic interpretation of it. More about that later. It's impossible to tell what Agnihotri is angrier about, the actual genocide not exodus we are told repeatedly, or the whitewashing subversion of it by the architects of Indian history. Why is it that so much literature is available on the Jew Holocaust and not the Kashmiri Pandits' genocide? Director Vivek Agnihotri loves a solid conspiracy theory. He sank his teeth in one earlier in the Tashkent Files, purporting to solve the mystery of the sudden death of Lal Bahadur Shastri during a visit to Tashkent. That film was the sleeper hit of 2019. To call the Kashmir Files a sleeper hit would be inappropriate, politically and otherwise. The growing impact of the film indicates a movement rather than a recurrence. The narrative moving back and forth in a heaving, lurching motion leaves us seasick. Besides, this film is too much of a wake-up call to be a sleeper or otherwise. Agnihotri spares us one of the brutality that the Pandits faced as they were told to vacate their homes overnight. Conway RT die or leave became the slogan for the pandemic pre-planned pogrom. What the militants massacre at was no less than a cultural cleansing. Another slogan heard repeatedly in the deafeningly defiant drama is without Hindu men with Hindu women, which sorely meant that the bestial jihadis wanted to kill the males and impregnate the women. It's a wild, deplorable thought which any rational mind would reject. Agnihotri recreates the sheer madness and monstrosity of that period, not letting go of a single opportunity to use the sledgehammer effect. In one early sequence, a little girl hands over a rose to an Indian Army officer who seconds later is ambushed and gunned down by bike-ridden assassins. Yes, the shock value is much valued here. So I quickly take you to the climactic butchery. Here 21 Pandits are shot at point blank in the center of their foreheads one after another. But my guess to Agnihotri is why the numbers, why is the narrative so taken up with how many were massacred? If you repudiate the statistics put out by the government on how few were killed, then your authentic numbers too are open to debate. The Kashmir Files would have worked better if it had steered away from inducing horror and disgust through numbers. The idea that the film puts forward of an entire read being annihilated by fundamentalists is so crushing in its implications that numbers cease to utter. What really counts is the impressive credibility Agnihotri brings to the polemical drama. There are long passages of history deconstructing conversations on the genocide among four old friends, played by Mithun Chakrabarti, Prakash Belawadi, Puneet Issar and Atul Srivastav, the last named embodying the prostitute line of thought so popular among a section of the Indian right-wingers, who conveniently pin the blame for historical disinformation on the media. These closed-door conversations confer an aura of a chamber piece on Agnihotri's conversational Kashmiri Carpe Diem. It's only when the narrative steps out into the action that we feel the full impact of the seething rage that are UNS through the narrative's vital organs. Anupam Kher dramatically effective as a senile Kashmiri Pandit who dies fighting for his people's right to return home has a very moving moment when he sits nibbling on a biscuit outside his tent at a refugee camp while in the distance we hear the voice of an old woman singing a Kashmiri song about homesickness. Wish there were more such raindan moments of anguish. Pallavi Joshi as a rabble-rousing academic inciting notions of azadi in her brainwashed street students is deliciously ambivalent. But it is Darshan Kumar as a young impressionable third-generation Kashmiri Pandit who steals the show. His pitch-perfect monologue on the illustrious history of Kashmiri Pandits at the JNU MNU will be recalled by history. I am not too sure how history will judge the Kashmir Files. It will depend on who is in power on Judgment Day.